All right, so today I'm going to talk about making it work using Parameter Jammer. My name's Colton Haney. I'm a team augmentation specialist at ATG USA. So I worked a lot in the Revit workspace, and I don't know why that popped up. So today I'm going to talk about a common problem that users will run into in Revit working on projects, whether it be architectural, MEP, fire protection, whatever. If you are working in Revit, I'm sure you have or will run into this issue. And then we're going to talk about this solution created by CTC software called Parameter Jammer. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and then I'll go over the interface and actually show you using it. But so first things first, what's this problem I'm talking about? Oftentimes users will need to bring in new content, content maybe that isn't out of the box Revit, or maybe it's from like a manufacturer, or maybe it's a one-off thing that nobody has, and you got to pull it off of something like Revit City. And a lot of this content may have some issues as far as the way it was built. Maybe it was built in a certain way that doesn't really work with your standards, or your company may use they may have a certain way they schedule things, and this content doesn't jive very well with it. And then it takes a lot of time to correct these things manually. And it also, takes a little bit of know-how. Maybe you don't work in editing Revit families. You're going to need to know how to do that to correct these issues. And Parameter Jammer allows you to quickly and easily just push these standards that you have, or push these parameters that you have in another family that's already in your project to this new family and resolve these issues that you're having. Even in my case, when I used to do HVAC design, I downloaded this air handling unit from a manufacturer, and it was this amazing family that it was one single family. It had every model that the manufacturer made for this air handling unit, had all the different kinds of configurations that you could have, and it was all check boxes, super easy to use, except it did not work with our schedule. And this was when I was first starting to use Revit, and I knew nothing about editing families. So I had to take the time to go find somebody who knew how to edit families, ask them to find some time to fix this family for me, and then I could put it into my project and use it. And that just takes a lot of time, and it relies on other people having time to help you, or learning some time to learn how to do something new. But this tool allows you to bypass a lot of that. It automates a lot of the process, and it allows you to do it by yourself as well. So the solution I'm talking about is called Parameter Jammer. It's part of the Revit Express tools, the BIM project suite that is offered by CTC software. It's a simple two-step process. It allows you to swap parameters in a family, and it allows you to reconcile these differences between the parameters in your schedule, but it doesn't override anything. It only does it within the project, so you're not destroying any existing data that you've had. As I mentioned before, it's designed to be very easy to use. You do not need to know anything about Revit families to be able to use this tool, because it automates most of the process for you. You just select the schedule you want, select the family that you're trying to push these parameters to, and how you want them pushed, and then hit OK, and you're good to go. So I'm just going to talk about this interface a little bit real quick. I will definitely go over it in the demonstration again, but just some quick overview. So when you open the Parameter Jammer tool, you'll get this dialog box that'll pop up, and So of course it has a little bit, you can do some info about it, look at some help write-ups, and look at some videos if you're having trouble using it. But here in this first dialog box, step 1, you'll select your shared parameters file that is usually located on maybe like a server for your company, or maybe you've got copies located on your personal machines. But if you guys have a standards, then you need to select it here so that the tool knows what list of parameters that it's allowed to push and how it needs to be done. Then on the left-hand side, you can select your schedules that you're trying to pull parameters from, that you need parameters for in this family. And then on the right side, you can select the families that you need to apply it to. And you can actually do this to multiple families at once. So you can do it for multiple schedules at once. It's really simple to use. Then after you've selected those things, you'll click next, and it'll pull up this other dialog box, and it will give you all the all of the parameters that it has found that were not already something in it that matched. So like, for example, if you've got this new family that it already has, say, a material parameter, but it doesn't match the material parameter on the schedule. If it has enough in common, Parameter Jammer will automatically map that parameter to the parameter of the same name, so you don't have to go through every single parameter in the family. This part of the dialog box will just pull up the ones that it doesn't really find a match for, so you only have to worry about those. And then you'll choose how you want to apply them, if you want it to be an instance, a type, or if you want to completely ignore it. But everything has to have a selection. So like where these blank ones are, you'd have to either select it or say set remaining to do not include type or instance. And then hit set, hit next. And then after it takes its time to process, and this could be a time-consuming task if you're doing a lot of families. I mean, I say time-consuming, I mean like, longer than 30 seconds. If you're doing a lot of families, or if you're doing a lot of parameters. But most of the time, this is almost instant. It'll give you a report when it's done processing, and it'll tell you how the parameters were pushed, if it was successful, what issues it had, how it pushed it. And you have the option here to copy it to your clipboard for an email, or a Word document or whatever, or you can save it for reference for later. And once you hit OK, then you should be able to modify the parameter that you were having issues with in your schedule. So here, and I will have this this PowerPoint available if you guys want to see these steps written out for you. Just at the end of the presentation, take my email down and send me an email. Let me know that you want this PowerPoint, and I'll be more than happy to send it to you, as well as answer any other questions that you may have that you have not had answered in this presentation. So at this time, I'll open my Revit project. I've just got this sample project from our MEPPP document or project, and so I've just for an example, bear with me. I know this probably would not happen exactly this way, but so just imagine that architect they decided they wanted some chandeliers in this building, and so they sent me a family that they built or that they found off of Revit City, and asked me to include it at these locations in the model. So I put them in here, and they look okay. Not what I would expect, but it'll work for now. But as you can see, so now it's not showing up in my schedule. I do have this blank line up here. Maybe that's it. So just to verify, I'll highlight and model. And that's right. So these chandeliers That's what's showing up on that schedule. So now I can go back to my schedule and let me try and fill out some of this. So we'll give it the type. Let's say I was told it was a D9. Okay. And I'm going to now, I need to name it as an iron chandelier, but I can't edit this description here. In fact, I can't edit a majority of these parameters. Some of them I can, others I can't. So rather than, you know, for example, let's say I don't know how to edit these families. Now I've got an issue because the family needs to be fixed so that these parameters can be used in the schedule. But I have access to this tool located under CTC Software, CTC BIM Project Suite. I have this tool called Parameter Jammer. So I'll open that up. And I'm already in the schedule, so you'll see that Parameter Jammer has already selected the schedule. I've already mapped my shared parameters text file. And as you can see, you know, I've got hundreds of families in this model, but since I've selected this schedule, all of the families over there are only the ones that are appearing on the schedule. So there's no need to filter through a lot of that. Parameter Jammer does it automatically for you. So the family I need to modify is this iron chandelier. I'll select it. Everything looks correct to me. I click next. Take a moment to figure out what parameters it can automatically push and what parameters it needs help on figuring out. So it looks like it was able to push quite a few already on its own, but there are still some that it's not able to push. So I'm going to have it all just be pushed as an instance. Since there's only 3 chandeliers, and they may or may not be the same, I'm just going to have it added as an instance. Not going to be hard to modify, but you have the option to maybe add some of these parameters as a type and have it applied to all of the families in the model that are of, or all of the families that are of that type in the model. And so another thing is, say you need to edit it again, right? Or you need to edit another one. If you close out of this and reopen the tool, it'll remember what settings you already had. As far as the schedule you had selected, the file you had selected, you just select the family, and the way that you had selected those parameters to be applied, it will remember how you had selected all of that. So you can see it's still, all of them say add as instance as well. This is manually set from a previous app session. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that alone. I'll click next. It'll take a moment to process. And as soon as it is done, it will generate that report that I had showed you before. I must have too much running on my machine right now. It's normally not this time consuming. And as you can see, it generated that report. I have the option to copy it or save it. And it also has another easier to read report where you can see it in the tool. Click finish. And now, just give it a second. So now I can come over here to that. Maybe I accidentally done something. 1 second. Okay. So this D9, let's make sure that that is that chandelier. Does not look like it. So as what parameter jammer does is behind the scenes in the background, it opens up the family and it makes the changes, and then it sends it back into the project. So it'll come in as if it hasn't been in before. And so let me just reset my master so that it does show up on that schedule again. Apologize for that. So here is that chandelier. You can see where I set it as D9 before. We'll just verify that that is the correct one. Yes. Go back to the schedule. And remember how I couldn't modify this before. Now it's letting me. And right there, I was able to add it there. Let's say it's a ceiling hung chandelier. Guys, I'm not electrical background, so please, I know you may be grimacing and a little upset with some of these things I'm typing, but just bear with me. But now you can see where before I wasn't able to change these. Now I can change them however I want, and I can fill out all of these empty spaces in my schedule with all the information that I need. And I did not have to open up the family editor. It took, I don't know, maybe what, total of 5 minutes to do all of that. And that's with me explaining what I'm doing as I'm doing it. But that completely solves that issue of not being able to schedule it properly without needing to know anything about editing families. So here in my presentation, which if you do want a copy, again, I'm more than happy to send it to you. It goes through all of what you need to know doing all of these steps. And then just some things to consider. When you are using Parameter Jammer, it does not necessarily push the parameters in the way that you would expect it to. It may just push it as a text parameter. Now that parameter exists, but it's text you can edit. If you've got formulas for some parameters that you're trying to push to it, it may not push those parameters, etc. It's only making sure that the parameter exists in that family so that you can edit it and it can be scheduled. If you want to make it more intelligent, add those formulas and stuff, you will have to do so in the family editor. And then for the BIM managers and the companies, you guys need to make sure that your users are able to read the shared parameter file. They don't necessarily need to be able to write to it or make changes to it, but they need to have access to it, and their machine needs to be able to read it in order for it to work with the BIM. And just some things to conclude from this. This tool solves the scheduling issues that result from bringing in manufacturers' content, other companies' content, random content created off the internet. Maybe some family editing knowledge, or you have some family editing knowledge, and you can build the shape that you need, but you don't necessarily know much about adding parameters to it. You can use this tool to add those parameters. This tool allows you to update the content live within the project. You don't have to shut the project down, kick everybody out, and then fix things. You can do this within the workspace. It's going to handle 90% of what the users are going to need. There are some other tools if managers need to do some other things. CTC software does offer other tools for that. And one of the big things is you don't have to hunt somebody down that knows how to do this. You don't have to find somebody who has some time to either show you or do it for you. You can do it yourself, 5-10 minutes, and fix all your families and be able to schedule everything. I've been told many times, I don't care how it works, this needs to be in there, just make it work. This tool allows you to do that, for the most part, headache-free, and just make it work with your schedule. And as a result, it has a very minimal impact on project timelines. You know, you don't have to take a day or half a day out to fix this family that you downloaded. Again, it's 5-10 minutes, and you're back to working on the project as you were before. So that concludes everything that I've got to show you guys about a Parameter Jammer. Do you guys have any questions? You can unmute yourself, or you can send it in chat, or if you'd rather email me directly, take my email down and you can send me those questions, or if you want a copy of the presentation, I'm more than happy to send that as well. All right, well, if there are no questions, thanks you guys for tuning in, and have a great day.